In this episode of Motoring Box, we're going to be having a go at cleaning the bonnet insulation. It looks hideous.
You're watching Motoring Box, proudly supported by Century Batteries.
Now, this thing is the original bonnet lining. It is over 24 years old. And yes, it does look very ordinary. This intake turbo conversion down here looks amazing, but whenever you pop the bonnet and see this, it just detracts from the whole thing. So originally, I was actually looking at getting a true fit replacement insulated panel. They're about $250, which does sting a little bit. But more importantly, the lead time on those is over a month, which is completely unacceptable in my opinion. So we're gonna get this out of the car. We're gonna hit it with some degreaser. It is quite delicate, so we are gonna pressure wash it, but we're gonna do it fairly gently. We'll keep the washer away from the surface a fair distance and maybe put a wider head on the pressure washer too. This is new territory for me. I don't know if it's going to wash well, so if it's gonna turn out good, or if it's going to fail spectacularly. But stick around and we'll find out together. But firstly, we're going to hit it with some Repco degreaser. I have no idea how far this can is going to go. Probably need a second one. We'll see. All right, that should be enough degreaser. I've just changed the plan a little bit. We've got some Bowden's Fabric Adabra, which I'm going to spray on, but also I'm going to hit it with some tire foam as well, because this thing can clean an engine bay like nothing you've ever seen before. But it promises to dissolve dirt and grime. So between the three of these, I'm hoping it'll do a good job. All right, that was interesting because we've had quite a bit of this start to disintegrate. We could probably even peel this a little bit, peel off the top layer. I reckon we try and peel it. Let's see what we can do. It looks bad right now, but with a bit of spray adhesive and some paint or dye, I reckon we can get this looking a ton better than what it did. All right, let it dry, I guess. All right, our insulation is dry, and this thing has been a bit of a shit show, to be honest. The pressure washer kind of destroyed it. And it's because this whole top layer here was kind of disintegrating anyway. And there are a few spots where it got quite torn up, because this thing is really just like, it's like a material. It's made out of fabric kind of woven together and then probably heat stamped or pressed into this shape. And yeah, it's very flimsy. So if you're on a budget, you could try and paint it, spray it with a fabric dye, just slap it back in, but I don't think it's going to turn out good with this particular one. So I've had to formulate a new plan of attack. What we're going to do is get some automotive headliner adhesive and spray quite a lot of it onto this, just to try and bind all the fibers that are in this thing together a bit stronger, hopefully increase the rigidity of it, and hopefully, again, this is all theoretical, give us a harder surface that we can actually stick this thing too. So this is, what do they call it? It's under bonnet insulation from car builders. So this is a 1 meter by 1.5 meter square of insulation, and it's got adhesive, tape. It's sticky on the back of it. So you just peel off that backing sheet and stick it on. In theory, they promise that it does mold to different shapes easily. So we've got a few shapes here to deal with. And yeah, so the idea, we'll spray all the adhesive on here to hopefully give us a good surface to stick this onto. Just see how it goes. Now this cost about $110, so our budget has gone up. With the glue, we're in for about 130, but that is still roughly half of what it would cost to get a new one. So, fingers crossed we can get a decent result. We just want to try, oh, that is quite thick. So we'll try and give this a nice coating of glue and focus on some of those areas where it was falling apart. Now this stuff is quite thick. I said it was about 5 mil. It looks like it might even be a little bit more. See that? And yeah, it is got adhesive on the back, so you really just peel this. That does look quite sticky, so we might even do a test batch because we don't need the corners. I've kind of measured out the size. So we can probably just cut a little bit off there and just see how it's going to behave. Oh, it actually sticks so strongly that it's going to cause damage. Luckily, when we adhere it, it's going to cover any damage. Wow, that is very strong. I reckon we can stick this on immediately. What I've done is I've split the roll in half by rolling it on both ends, and then I've cut this peel down the middle here so I can start from the center. I can put it down kind of like this, and then start, do one half, do the other half. So once this sticky area hits this, there's no way we're going to get it off. The shapes we're working with here are not very deep or contoured, so it's not really having to work very hard yet. It's when we get to some of these that it's going to be interesting. Okay, it is conforming decently to this. So it's just about trying to find all of those little indentations and then make sure it conforms to as many of them as we can. This one here is an indent for the coolant reservoir, the overflow tank. The cap of it kind of sits in there. But so far, so good, I reckon. It hasn't reached all the way to the end here, but we can probably just trim that. I got my alignment a little bit wrong. But yeah, I don't think you'll even notice that. Or we can probably trim a little bit and just stick it on there. We'll see whatever works out best. So really the next thing to do is probably to flip it over and just trim everything. All right, this thing has been trimmed, and how do we think it's looking? I think it's looking pretty good. The next step, we have to actually put the holes through it as well for those plastic clips. I reckon we can use a soldering iron just to poke some holes in it. What I'm also going to do is put a little bit of this new insulation on the underside because it is very weak on this edge here, which is right near sort of the windscreen end of the bonnet. You could probably throw some glue on here as well just to try and reinforce it. Right, so now we're going to put the holes through this new material. So we've got it flipped over, we can see the old pad here on the back and we can see the holes. So plan is I'm going to stick a really hot soldering iron through this. Look at that, like a knife through butter. So I think that's all of them. We can let this dry off and then throw it back in the car. And here is the final result. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And I'm not just saying that. It's molded perfectly, it's stuck down perfectly too. And yeah, compared to how it looked before, have a look at this versus this. I think for 110 bucks for the insulation, it's a good deal. It's a really good quality panel. And again, this is not sponsored. I bought this full price, $110 from my local Repco. And I've actually noticed the difference on the road too. Previously, with the stock pad, you would get a bit of valve train noise. You would kind of hear the engine working as you normally would. But now that's kind of disappeared, and I can mainly hear that turbo on the intake here sucking in air from the front of the airbox and the intake here. It is subjective. I don't have any decibel readings or anything, any science to back that up. But as someone who's owned this car for about 5 or 6 years, I did notice a bit of a difference. And it really comes back to the thickness of this car builder's panel, about 6 millimeters, and the weight of it. It's at least double the thickness, probably 2 times or 3 times the weight difference compared to the new panel versus the stock one. So all up, it's definitely an improvement. It's just how much of an improvement. That's the subjective part. So if you're interested to purchase this, look up your local retail store. They might have to order it in, but it is perfectly sized, really good quality product. Definitely worth the money. I'm stoked. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.